Hey everybody, what's up? How are you guys? Welcome to another edition of the GD Q&A. I don't think I can pronounce that word anymore during the first minute of the stream. But anyway, first and foremost, welcome. Time to answer your questions once again. And second, I'd like to know from people if the music is alright. We've had problems with the music in the past. So let me know if it sounds duplicated or with echo or with something, I need someone to tell me right now in the chat if the music is working alright, if it sounds good. Is it good? Hey guys. Thanks for joining today. Glad to see you here. I can't hear it, We're gonna have to make a couple of tests. Audio is good, alright. Let me decrease it a little bit. And now I'm gonna listen to it myself. Let me know if it changes. 3, 2, 1. Oh, this is Phantasy Star 3. So what about now? Sounds good? Okay, perfect. Alright then, we're set, we're good to go everybody. Welcome to another goddamn Q&A. Thanks for joining. First and foremost, I'd like to say something that I should say more often during these streams. It seems a lot of people don't know when exactly do they take place. Okay, so the thing is that I do these Q&A streams every 2 Sundays. For the past few months, I've been doing a Q&A one Sunday at 12 p.m. Central Time, which is right now. And then there's the next Sunday is something else, usually a Let's Play. Usually I stream a game, or I discuss a topic for 30 minutes or 40 minutes, or I do nothing, And then the next Sunday is another Q&A. Okay, at 12 p.m. Central Time, like right now, for example. So I thought people should know because a lot of people don't seem to know when exactly do I make these Q&A streams. Now you do, every 2 Sundays at 12 p.m. Central Time. Also my books, link in the description, I am in the middle of translating another book, one of my oldest books, written and published on July 17. Okay, this was published on July 16th. 8 years ago, in Spanish of course. It's called The Revenant Army, and it's going to be fully translated to English this very same year, so expect to see it soon. But if you're interested in my other books, link in the description below on Amazon, baby. Alright, listen to some Xenoblade Chronicles 2 music right now. That controversial game, huh? Sure caused a lot of controversy. I didn't read the comments, as usual, but I noticed that it had over 400 comments, and I was like, Jesus. I have videos that have 30 to 40,000 views, 50,000 views, and they only have 100 comments. And this Xenoblade video, I think it has 12,000 views, and it already has 400 and something comments, I can't believe it. Yeah, I can't believe it. So, what am I playing right now? I'm playing Atelier Ryza. As usual, as every single JRPG that I play, I have a lot to say about it. I think it's a great game, but, I played it before, but I never finished it, so I went back to it recently. And I am enjoying it, but it does have some couple of things that are really, really, I don't want to say poorly designed, but they were what's the point? For example, I got recently, last night, to a point in the story where my alchemy level needed to be 39. And I was 29. So, okay, it's no big deal, right? Because all you gotta do is synthesize stuff over and over and over again. The higher the level of the item you want to synthesize, the better, the faster you get to level 39. But still, it took me like an hour and a half or something, and I was like, man, I mean, it just hinders the progress. I mean, why did you increase it to level 39 to progress with the story? Man, it's just these games today, I feel like they do anything, just to increase the gameplay time. Just to have the player play more. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about this? I mean, are games unnecessarily longer nowadays? Like, I know most of you are going to disagree. I know for most of you, the longer the better. And I'm talking about all genres, not just RPGs. People like me on our mid-30s, we come from a time where video games on the NES lasted for an hour, for half an hour, 30 minutes and you were done. 1 hour and you were done, maybe 2 hours. And nowadays it seems like every single game, even platformers, even puzzle games, they go for 4, 5, 6 hours. I recently, about a month ago, I beat a game called every time I want to talk about a game, it's nowhere to be found. Alright, so I beat this game about a month and a half ago. Was it a month ago? I'm not too sure. But anyway, this is Shantae, Half Genie Hero. I love this game. This is an amazing game. I strongly recommend this game to you guys. It's a platformer. I've covered this game in this channel, actually. It's a platformer with some RPG elements. That's another thing I want to talk about. So, are games unnecessarily longer nowadays? Do you know how many hours it took me to beat this game? It only took me 6 hours. 6 hours. But, going back to my point, it's a platformer. Why did it take me 6 hours to complete? Well, it's because I think most gamers nowadays want the longer the games, the better for them. Because games are more expensive nowadays. These platformers used to be, $20 back in the day, brand new, complete in box. Whereas nowadays, every single game in existence, it's $80 release date. When they launch, it's $80 or $60. It's ridiculous, but times have changed. Those $20 from 30 years ago are the equivalent nowadays of $80 maybe. So $20 back then was still expensive. So, which leads me to my question, why is people so obsessed with getting a really long experience? Like, why can't this be? I'm not complaining, I love those 6 hours. And like many of you who probably beat this game, ironically, I'm going to contradict myself right now. Ironically, I was expecting a little bit more. When I beat this game, I was like, oh, come on, no, that's it. I want more. But when I personally say, I know most of you go for side quests and content and completionist and whatever. When I say, I want more, it means I want more story. Like, want more new places to go, to explore. Okay? Not side quests. But that's the problem, It seems today that a lot of people just want more side content. Whereas, games end up being 80% side content, side quests, optional stuff, trophies, completionist crap, instead of story. Because, I just beat Xenoblade Chronicles 2, right? Thank you, Matthew. Thank you very much. So, I just beat Xenoblade Chronicles 2 for the first time ever last week, and I made a video, and you guys probably watched that video, that rant. I made 38 hours and 40 something minutes. Yeah, I know. You guys are gonna be like, what? You barely touched the game. No, sir, I beat the game and I completed the game. But, did I skip all side content? Yes, and I've seen people putting this game, 80 hours, 100 hours, and I'm like, what the fuck did they do with the game? Well, they did all the side stuff, all the optional open world stuff, and they probably played the game on the hardest difficulty. So that's how people put so many hours into a game, which leads me to believe, that this is some kind of I didn't prepare this topic, but it just makes me think that this is some kind of marketing strategy from companies, to give more and more and more and more and more to the player. But you guys don't notice that this more and more and more is optional stuff. It's just side content and probably DLC. If people want to get all the blades in Xenoblade Chronicles, they want to get Cosmos, they want to get this other special blade, and the DLCs have blades from, the characters from Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and X. So I get it, they want to put as many hours as they can. They want more content. That's the term I was looking for. The more content, the better for them, for most gamers nowadays, for most of you. And I get that, but I'm happy with my 38 hours and 45 minutes. I'm happy with my 6 hours. I feel this game, I wish, me personally, because it has RPG elements, I wish it could have been longer, but at the same time, to prove my point, it should have been shorter. It should have been 3 hours or 4 hours, and that's it. So games have gotten longer. Every genre, even racing games. I mean, there's already open world racing games. Forza, for example, it's like you can put as many hours as you can. It's an open world game. It's infinite, like Grand Theft Auto. It never ends. So, what do I think about this? What do I think about that? Is this affecting the gameplay? I mean, is this affecting the gaming industry? No, I don't think so. It's just I do feel like games are going to keep being longer and longer and longer. Eventually, you will have one game to last for the entire year, just one game. But then this leads to another discussion, which is you guys have a huge amount of backlog, right? So just put this into perspective. I mean, if you have 100 games in your backlog, and each and every single one of them is as long as Xenoblade Chronicles, as long, because you could put hundreds of hours into them. Dude, my dude, you're gonna die before you finish those 100 games, You're gonna play maybe 50, and the other 50 are just gonna be there. What are you guys, shelf collectors? Or video game collectors, there's a difference. So it's a contradiction, right? It's like we need to sit down and decide what we really want to do, and if I really want to put these many hours into this game, or if I just focus on the main story and move to this one. Because, like I said, going back one last time to this example, it's just, I'm a victim too of that, I think this game should have been shorter, but in a contradictory way, I felt these needed to be longer. So it's happening to me too. But anyway, I'm starting to make no sense, but you get the idea. I mean, you get my point. That's my point. Games are starting to get longer, and they will continue to get longer. Is this a good or a bad thing to the game industry? I don't know, but all I know is that I see a lot of people getting a lot of games, and they probably will never have the time to finish them all. I have 74 people watching, guys. Thanks for joining, everybody. So, link in the description to my books. They're all different kinds of books, environmental horror, survival horror. I mean, hey, I got a book called Nick's Inferno, which is pretty much a survival horror. I've never thought of it that way, all I thought about that book was, it's a gothic book, some psychological horror stuff, but the main character needs to, read the book. Link in the description. Yeah, I mean, JRPGs, it's no surprise that they're all 20, 40, 50, 60 hours long each. And all of them, even back in the day, you could play a game like Final Fantasy VI, which came out in 1994, I think. And, I don't remember how many hours it took me to beat that game. I think it was probably 20, 25. But I'm pretty sure that if you do everything there is to be done, I probably did more hours because I got all the characters. There's some optional characters in Final Fantasy VI, and you go and get them all, so you spend more hours. There's one character, I think his name is Gao, something like that, and you gotta spend a lot of time in a deserted area, fighting monsters until he randomly appears, as a party member. And if he appears in there and you finish the battle, you can't. If you run away, he goes away. You gotta finish that random encounter, to get this character into your party. So yeah, I probably put more hours in Final Fantasy VI, but my point is that even back in the day, you could easily put 50 hours in Final Fantasy VI. Sure, there were RPGs back then in the early 90s that were more straightforward. Like, for example, some of the Ys games, the early Ys games 1, 2, and 3. There's barely any side content in there, and you just, the story is the only thing you got in there. You put 3-5 hours into it, and that's it. There's nothing else to do. That's it. You beat the game. So I guess a lot of people grew unsatisfied more and more with that, which means, developers started increasing the length of their video games. And we can't forget about hardware capabilities. Maybe most of these developers, or some of them, wanted to make these long-ass games since the 90s, and they couldn't because the entire adventure wouldn't fit in one cartridge or in one disc on PlayStation 1. That's why, games like Final Fantasy 7, 9, or 8, and 9, are 4 discs. Final Fantasy 7 is 3 discs. But Final Fantasy 8 and 9 are 4 discs, because they put a lot of cinematics, and the cinematics were, big, huge files, So these limitations, are also the reason why games are longer nowadays, because they were supposed to be this long back in the day, but they just couldn't because of hardware limitations. Anyway, enough. Let's get on with some of your questions. If you're still watching, Matthew, I'm sorry that I didn't read your question. I was in the middle of the topic. Really interesting topic. I've been wanting to talk about that for a while. I also want to talk about survival horror games today and environmental puzzles. Well, anyway, he says, Matthew, if you're still watching, I enjoyed your latest Dragon Quest video. Oh, my second channel, the clip from the previous Q&A. Yeah, the Dragon Quest is the best series. Yeah, it's not my favorite series, but it is kind of the best when it comes to pure, how it remains the same no matter what, unchanged. It's just evolving and getting better. I'm over 300 hours in... You seriously? Why are you 300 hours in Dragon Quest XI? What are you doing, man? Just putting the controller there and sitting on your couch listening to music, to the entire town theme, which is amazing, or the world map theme over and over again? I also thoroughly enjoyed Dragon Quest Builders 1 and 2. Did you play either of them? I played the first one. Was it the second one? I played one on the Vita that I had to download on the Vita to make my ranking video, my tier list video on the PS Vita, and it just wasn't my cup of tea, but it looks interesting. Maybe if I go back to it and sit down, without having the pressure of making a video, I can play the game on my own free time, maybe I'll grow to appreciate it. Anyway, excited for Xenoblade Chronicles 3. If I missed any of your questions, guys, ask them again. Just don't spam them. Yes, I'm excited for Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Yes, sure, but I'm not gonna get it because it's gonna be $80, and I'm not gonna pay that. It's just fucking bullshit. Have you heard about the recent trademark of Shadow Hearts? I did. That was like a month ago, was it? That's great news, but it may mean something. It may mean anything. It may mean that they just want to protect their work, to have copyright on it again, and that's it. Maybe they're leaving the door open, for some possibilities, right? Anyway, thank you, Patrick. Would you smash Pyra or Mithra? If by Smash you mean Smash Bros, I don't play those games. I don't like Smash Brothers, man. I don't know why. It's just... I like the fan service in there that you get all these characters from different franchises. Hell, in the GameCube, when they added Ike from Path of Radiance, I was like, awesome, but it's just the battle mechanics and jumping around, and then the camera zooming in and out, and falling, and... they're not my type of fighting games, I don't really like playing Smash Bros. But I'm not gonna... I don't even want to play them anyway because those characters are censored. Didn't you watch my recent video? I've had it with censorship, man. I'm fucking tired of censorship. It's just ridiculous. It's been going on forever. And just when we started to believe that, censorship was over in video games, it came back and now it's starting to feel overwhelming nowadays because, everywhere needs to be safe nowadays, very positive and rainbows and, colorful, and shiny and respectful and politically correct. And in other words, the system wants you to be a fucking hypocrite. Hey, Mr. Wonderful. So yeah, but if you're asking me which girl I prefer, I think I don't like calling them by their English names because I made some strong criticism about that. They changed their names. To me, those characters are Homura and Hikari. It's Hikari, in the review that I did of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I said that Mithra's name was Shikari. When in reality it's Hikari without the S at the beginning. But Rex, I'm pretty sure I hear Rex calling her sometimes Shikari. I'm pretty sure. But her name is Hikari without the S. Well, anyway, to answer that question, I'm a Hikari guy. I prefer Hikari. Pyra, Homura, she's fine, but she's a tad bit generic for my taste. I prefer Nia. Nia. Oh, can I stay with Melef? Oh, pronounce Merek. She's Morag. Morag in the game, Morag, but she's pronounced Merek. Oh, I love her. I don't like how her Japanese voice actress sounds very masculine. I guess they were going for that approach, to make her character sound like more. I mean, she's all dressed like a male soldier, and that. And we never got. I know it's probably a side stuff, or I didn't do this quest or whatever, to unlock her backstory. But we didn't get a lot of backstory in the main story for that particular character. I mean, we learned a lot about Nia, Zeke, the main characters, right? But we didn't exactly learn that much about Merek, Melev, Morag, whatever. Anyway, so yeah. Have you played Rhapsody on PS1? Yeah, I think it's a wonderful game. I think it's a great game. It also got a remake on the Nintendo DS. The battle system changed from strategy to turn-based. And I'm not sure which of these two versions is getting remastered next year for NES Classics Volume 3, which is also going to include Lapocel Tactics, by the way. I'm kind of curious about this one. I mean, the last one they did, Volume 2, was Makai Kingdom and Setai Hero Project. I'm a fan of neither of those games, Makai, I couldn't get into it, and Setai Hero Project was great, but I'm not. It's a roguelike RPG. You need to die and then go back to level 1 and start from scratch, and I'm not into those types of games. That's right. I mean, not everything gets cut off, Oh, wait, what? If you miss the stream, it will be cut up and made into smaller videos for the second channel. Yeah, I mean, sure, that's right, but not everything I say in these streams makes it to the second channel. Just a bunch of videos and that's it. Like, I don't know, 60% or more, probably 70% stays here. Because sometimes I just answer questions and that's it. Thank you again, Patrick. What do you want to see get a remake? I think the game that I want to see get remade the most is... this is another contradiction. I'd like to see a Xenogears remake. But I know if it's handled by Square Enix, they're going to make it an action RPG. And I don't want that. So as much as I would like to say Xenogears for your question, it's not going to be Xenogears. So I'm just going to pick Parasite Eve. Again, they're probably turning to an action RPG, but I'm pretty sure they learned their lesson with the last two games. I mean, Parasite Eve 3, which was a full third-person shooter, it was a commercial fiasco. I mean, I think it sold fairly well because it's a Square Enix game, but it got a lot of criticism, and Square Enix knows that, so if Parasite Eve, the first one, ever gets remade, they know they gotta do something different. They can't just turn into a straight third-person shooter. So it's a weird pick, I know, but I'm Parasite Eve. I also would like to see damn. I got the name right in my mind. Anyway, if you hear something, some noise outside, it's because there's someone fixing something. Hope you guys don't hear anything. But anyway, you know, what was that other game that I wanted to see? Fuck, man, never mind. You know, if I remember, I'll let you know. Are you going to play Digimon Survive? No, I'm not. I don't like Digimon, but I noticed that it's coming out the exact same day as Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Wow, I mean that's interesting. I mean, Digimon is a big franchise, but I get the feeling that Xenoblade Chronicles is probably gonna sell more and it's gonna crush it. But it's Digimon, right? And this is a long anticipated game too, Digimon Survive. It's been there for a long time. Oh, speaking about Xenogears. Favorite PC Engine video game? You know, I really like Ys 3. I mean, I prefer the Odin Felgana on the PSP, but I prefer, I mean, I really like the version of Ys 3 on the TurboGrafx 16. I'm talking about Ys. I'm talking about Ys. Right now, why would you ask me why do you dislike action RPGs? What's the matter with you, man? How many RPGs you play at once? Usually just one. I'm the kind of guy who likes to take it slow, you know. I play a couple of hours per day, maybe a little bit more if I'm really enjoying the game. And that's it. Sometimes I play 2 at once because I need it for this channel, or because I'm playing something on my TV and then something else on my portable system. But usually I stick to 1 RPG at a time. Do you still want to get Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge? A physical, yeah. I mean, digital, I think it's like $10 or $15, which is okay for a digital game, but I really want to own that game, you know, like on physical media. But what, it's gonna be like $60? Have you tried the AI games? You mean the Somnium File games or whatever? Like the visual novels, right? I haven't played them. I know them, but I haven't played them. Did you say you were a pervert in God Eater 3? What? No. I don't really like hentai. I know it's you guys get off, some of you get off on that, you know. I respect that, you know. But I don't. It just sounds to me like the girls are getting the I can't pronounce the R word because it's strictly prohibited, you know, in YouTube nowadays. Well, you know what I mean? They just sound like they're not really enjoying sex. And, you know, it's just funny. You know, how characters, you know, have sex in hentai, you know, it's funny, man. I can't even take it seriously. I'm laughing, you know. So now I'm demonetized. Why do people hate turn-based RPG so much? Holy shit! Where did that come from? You mean like average gamers? I don't know. You mean like the average superficial gamer who's only played one turn-based RPG in his life or her life, and that's it? I don't know. Do you use emulator or it's taboo for gamer? It's taboo for rich people. It's definitely not a taboo for poor people or middle class people, you know. I love emulation, and I'm always recommending people to emulate. Because especially nowadays, because prices are fucking stupid. What are your thoughts on the new Valkyrie game coming out? I did a video on that on my second channel. Check it out. I don't want to talk about Valkyrie Elysium today because I'm planning on making another video for this channel in the near future. Are you hyped for the next big Fire Emblem game? Has it been announced? I mean, I know it was kind of leaked that they're working on one. I mean, I'm a die-hard fan, you know, I'm obviously excited, but have they said anything, you know? Persona 3 FES or P3 Portable? I'm an FES guy. I like FES. I know Portable has the option to control your party members and to play as the girl, but the FES has, you know, the answer, and it's graphically superior to the PSP version. And yeah, I'm an FES guy. I've never finished the Portable version. I've played it, but never finished it. Do you think commissioning an artist is a good idea or a waste of money? Well, I've always done that, dude. You know, I'm a writer. So every single one of my books that I've published, I had to commission an artist to create the cover of my book. So it's definitely not a waste of money. Favorite indie RPGs? Cosmic Star Heroine is my favorite by far. And the reason why I haven't made a video about indie RPGs is because most of them have disappointed me in some ways, or there were just a couple of things in some of them that ruined the experience for me. Yeah, that's right, ruined it. Like Indivisible was just extremely hard, and the enemies wouldn't respawn, so you could grind. I mean, that's a fatal mistake right there. Why make your game extremely hard, and you're taking out the option to grind from the player in an RPG? And then Crosscode. There was Crosscode, Crosscode? Too many puzzles, way too many. I got to a point where I was like, am I playing an action RPG or a puzzle game? And it's both, but it's like 80% puzzle, it's just got too overwhelming. And most of the puzzles were kind of easy, and the ones that weren't hard, I like them because, it makes me think. I like puzzle games, I like environmental puzzle games, but I want to play an RPG, not a freaking puzzle game, If I'm gonna play a puzzle game, I'm gonna play a puzzle game. And then there's Edge of Eternity, with a lot of unbalanced issues, you want... In Edge of Eternity, you get into one random battle and you kill everything in like 2 seconds. And in the next battle, the enemy kills you in 2 seconds. And you change the game to easy mode and you kill everything in 2 seconds. And then the boss battles some of them are pretty cleverly designed, I love them, but others were like, oh my god, man, I gotta do that and this and that. It's just gonna make the battle unnecessarily longer and tedious, it's just... You see my point? Indie RPGs, they always have something, man, that I'm like, oh fuck, it ruins it for me. But besides Cosmic Star Heroine, I love the Rise of the Third Power. Amazing game, I finished it. I tried playing Azure Saga, and it's just way too generic. Legrand Legacy has some boss battle issues as well. Next question. What do you think of... thank you, Patrick, once again. What is the best Xeno game? Probably Xenosaga 3 for me. A lot of people are gonna say it's Xenogears, but my favorite is Xenosaga 3. I like the story and music in Xenogears more, but I think the gameplay is better in Xenosaga 3. Did you see Valkyrie Profile gets a remaster? Oh yeah. It will be... No, it's not exactly a remaster. It feels like more like it's gonna be a port, a simple port to modern systems, but it's gonna be free if you buy Valkyrie Elysium, the special edition or whatever, Anyway, this song right now is from Ray Gigant. It's a little bit loud, but I hope you guys are enjoying it. Best PS2 game? For me, it will be my favorite, which is Valkyrie Profile 2, Silmeria. Grow Lancer Heritage of War is a pretty close second. And non-RPG, I guess I will go for Haunting Ground, also known as Demento on the PS2. Do you agree that the Persona 2 duology overall has the best storyline out of all Persona games? Yes, I agree. It's just more dark. It's darker, there's no... Well, there's a lot of jokes in them too, but there's not a lot of focus on the life skull simulation, it's just... Yeah, I think those two games have the best story in the entire Persona series, but I really like the story in Persona 3. Hey, it's me again. Yeah, which Breath of Fire game is your favorite and why? Breath of Fire 4, that's why I cover it often. I think it's a wonderful game. It didn't age really well. I guess some people were wondering why didn't he include Breath of Fire 4 or a million other RPGs in the top 10 JRPGs that aged really well. Maybe I'll make a part 2, but I don't think Breath of Fire 4 is gonna be there for one thing: the camera. That isometric view and how the camera moves like this, it makes it so hard to explore towns, dungeons, areas, towns. When you have a problem exploring towns, that's when something did not age well. And that was my main problem, because I did consider Breath of Fire 4 for that video, and I was like, it's just this camera, it's like Xenogears. This fucking camera, you know, it kills it. It's not enjoyable, man. So I hope Breath of Fire gets a remaster or a remake one day. Imagine a Breath of Fire 4 remake. I mean, it's Capcom. I don't think they're gonna turn it into an action RPG. Who knows, right? Have you played Metal Saga? Yes, I did on the PS2. I couldn't get into it. I like how in that game, I remember that at the very beginning you can get the bad ending. When you start Metal Saga, you know, the game asks you some questions. Some dude asks you some questions. Do you want to be an engineer or not? Something like that, you know? And if you answer negatively, you know, you get automatically a game over. That's at the end. That was pretty interesting. PS1 era is magical. Well, it was magical in some areas, you know. I think a lot of PS1 games did not age well. Back in the day, it was marvelous for sure. It was impressive to look at. But nowadays, you know, a lot of PS1 games didn't age well. So I guess I'm starting to. Anyway, you know, I know people think of it as the golden age, but I don't know. I think the golden age is right now. We're getting a shit ton of RPGs. RPGs is one of the most popular video game genres of all time nowadays. You know, there's several ways to play them. A lot of them are getting remastered, ported, or re-released. You know, emulation has never been better. Yeah, I think this is the golden age of RPGs. But to each their own, right? I'm probably in the very small minority right there. I don't like Elden Ring. I haven't played it, and I'm not interested one bit. I don't like Souls games. I hate the idea of AI Dungeon is basically unplayable. I don't even know what that is. AI Dungeon? It's getting an ad? You're playing a game and it's getting an ad? Holy shit. Yeah, that's the future of gaming. You're gonna be playing your games and getting ads in the middle because you're streaming them. Which JRPG has quick time event? A lot of them. You know, Final Fantasy 13 is the first one that comes to mind. Xenoblade Chronicles has... It's not a quick time event, but you gotta, you know, click the button, you know, to make the combo or the special, you know, work. And do more damage, you know. Do you have a body pillow? No, I don't. And wow, thank you once again, Patrick. Oh, you can keep donating, you know, don't worry. It doesn't need to be the last one. What's the worst RPG you played? That's probably... that's a tough question, man. I think I'm gonna go... You know, I'd say probably Draken on the Super Nintendo or Tracia on the Genesis. But we're talking about very early 90s games. I mean, they kind of had a small excuse to be bad, you know, because of the hardware limitations. Or, you know, RPGs weren't that big back in the day. But there's another game that is pretty famous in this channel because of guys like me. It just has no excuse to be that bad. I think it came out in 2012 or 11. I mean, wow. I mean, how do you compare a game from 2011 from 1991? I mean, it just had no excuse to be that bad. And that is Time and Eternity on the PlayStation 3. I mean, holy shit, man. How did it fuck up so bad in 2011, man? It's inexcusable. Sure, it's not absolutely horrible and completely unplayable. It isn't, I admit that, but it's the worst. When was the last time you had tacos? Actually, last week. I think compiled hard RPGs are the worst. Oh no, come on, man, give them a break. I mean, some of them are pretty solid. There isn't a single one, in my opinion, though, that is like an S-tier RPG, like, wow, masterpiece. No. But there are some, you know, really good ones, like Agarest. Record of Agarest War, the first one. Then there's a game like Fairy Fencer. I don't know. Most of them are low tier, yeah. But they aren't the worst. Would you ever want a Last Remnant sequel? No, because I didn't like the first one. How will they make it better? I want a remake of that game, you know, because it has some really great ideas. It just had a lot of wasted... I mean, I think Last Remnant, for me personally, was a wasted potential, you know. They didn't need to convolute the battle system so bad. Chrono Cross remake, I don't think it needs a remake. It needed a remaster. It happened. It wasn't the best remaster, you know, but it's decent. At least for me, on the PlayStation 4, I know the Switch version and the Steam version suffer from low frame rate. You know, but the PS4 version was... let's move on. Thoughts on Ni no Kuni? I'm not a fan of the combat either. I recommend playing the second one. If you didn't like the combat in the first Ni no Kuni, you'll probably like the second one better because it has combat more like the Tales games. It's a, you know, straight up action RPG. Yeah, in the first game, it's like Pokemon. You know, you capture monsters, you train them, you summon them on the field, and they fight for you. I mean, yeah, not a fan either. I'm with you there. Do you think Final Fantasy IX is the most balanced JRPG ever? No. No way, man. Final Fantasy IX has some really tough boss battles, tons of random encounters. You know, I love that game, and it's still a masterpiece for its time, and it's my favorite Final Fantasy game of all time. But, I gotta admit it has some issues, you know. 130 people watching. Thanks for joining, everybody. Glad to have you guys here. Check out my books, link in the description. Join my Patreon page, also link in the description if you want to support this channel. And we have a great community in the Discord chat, you know. A bunch of guys from that very same Discord chat are here in the comments. They will tell you that it's a great place to be. Do you read manga? Not really. I watch anime. Are you gonna play Valkyrie Profile 2 as a Let's Play? I did 2 parts and I quit, but I don't think so. How do you publish your books? I just did, you know, I went to a print, well, first and foremost I wrote them and then I protected them in copyright. That's the first thing you gotta do if you're gonna publish a book, you know, go to the copyright office from your local area and copyright them, and then it's time to find an artist, someone who will draw the cover, you know, of your book. Once that's done, you know, you get the cover, you know, and then you go to the printing house. And once there, you know, you pay money, they print a bunch of copies, and then you sell them wherever, online, flea market. For a time, I was selling them on flea markets. That was a long time ago. It didn't work, so I started selling them in anime conventions, anime shows, gaming shows, until they got way too expensive. You know, they wanted to charge a lot of money for one table, and it wasn't profitable anymore. So I just stuck with Amazon. Amazon prints the books. I don't have to pay money, and they also send you the book. Or if you want to read it digitally, you know, that also works, you know. So yeah, that's how I published my books. Are teens allowed in your Discord server? Well, yeah, as long as your parents don't come knocking on my door saying, hey, I mean, you know me, man. If you're a fan of this channel, you know, there's a lot of guys in there. Most of us are very politically incorrect. So just a friendly warning. But in my Discord, you gotta pay money. I mean, it's not free. Do you recommend Live Alive for Switch? I haven't played it. I downloaded the demo and I haven't touched it. It's coming out next Friday, right? How about I stream it next Friday, you know, the demo. Do you like the last modern Phantasy Star Online games? No, because I don't play MMORPGs. So I haven't even touched them. I played the original Phantasy Star Online on the GameCube. And I didn't play it online. And the offline mode was kind of meh. So yeah. Patrick, once again, my man, you've been the man of this stream, man. What is the most tragic character you played in an RPG? And which book should I read first? You can start with any of my books because they're all standalone, they're not connected. You know, you feel free to start with whichever catches your attention the most. I recommend Terra Gaiden, even though I wrote that book in English over 8 years ago, so my English wasn't as good as it is nowadays. I'm not saying my English is perfect today, but just keep that in mind, you know. A lot of some sentences are gonna be like weird in that book, but it's an RPG book. You know, it's about, you know, characters building an army, you know, like in Suikoden or Fire Emblem. And the most tragic character I've played in an RPG. The there are a lot of hopeless characters, that you really feel for them, and because they, I don't know, I have to think about that, and maybe make a video about that. That sounds like a good idea for a video, top 10 most tragic characters. Well, I mean, not to spoil the game, but Surge from Chrono Cross. Or Kid herself. Kid, I mean, wow. Now that I think about Kid from Chrono Cross, she's an extremely tragic character. After you learn what happened to her. Is that Good, the Bad, and the Ugly music? No, that was from Wild Arms. Wild Arms the music took influence from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Are you excited for Xenoblade Chronicles 3? Yes, I am, but I'm not gonna play it when it comes out. What RPG did you think was the most obnoxiously over melodramatic beyond belief? Probably Xenoblade Chronicles 2. No, I mean, that's not my answer, but it's pretty damn close. I mean, it was just... I mean, you get these really over-the-top melodramatic scenes in there with overly sexualized girls. How am I supposed to take that seriously? I mean, you see my point, right? I mean, I love the girls in there. But anyway, another one that it's like extremely dramatic. Probably the latest Final Fantasy games. I remember watching a scene in Final Fantasy 15 and I was cringing, man. I was like, I mean, yeah. Anything written by Tetsuya Nomura. Would you like to see a Xenogears remake? I was just talking about that and the answer is no. Like what they did with Final Fantasy VII remake. No, I don't want that. If they're gonna make a remake on Xenogears, it needs to be turn-based because it just doesn't make any sense. Final Fantasy VII Remake, I love the remake, I really enjoy the remake, but I didn't like the fact that they changed the battle mechanics from turn-based to action. But it kinda makes sense because the turn-based system in Final Fantasy VII is just standard turn-based. It does have a couple of details that make it stand out a little bit more above others, but it's, let's face it, it's kinda generic. Whereas the one in Xenogears, it's the shit, man. It's amazing. It's an amazing battle system, in there. It's combo based. You create these combos and shit. I mean, it's just you take that away and you change Xenogears into a fucking beat 'em up. It's just not gonna work. I don't want a Xenogears remake that's an action RPG, man. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of games that could be easily changed to action, and it wouldn't. I will be pissed off, but it wouldn't matter that much, Because the battle system, it's like, for example, Legend of Dragoon. Somebody brought it up. The Legend of Dragoon is a game where the battle system is like, you sometimes gotta click the button at the right time, to make your combos work, or to make your attacks more powerful. And then you get these Dragoon transformations, I don't think the battle system in Dragoon is that original, but it's kinda the soul of the gameplay, that combat. You change that to action and what are you gonna do, like Xenoblade Chronicles? Characters are gonna fight by themselves with you doing nothing, just sitting on your ass, watching them, and then when somebody makes a combo, you get that quick time event, that circle, zooming in on the button you gotta click, and then that's it. I shouldn't have said this, I'm probably giving these developers ideas. But I mean, it's just some turn-based RPGs, it's just, no. It just doesn't work, man. I mean, you're taking the soul out of the game. Like I said, in Final Fantasy VII Remake, it wasn't that big of a deal because the battle system is kind of generic in there. So, okay, well, fine, whatever, They could have done, they could have evolved the battle system. They could have turned the battle system in Final Fantasy VII Remake turn-based. They could have done it turn-based, and still awesome, added some new features in there. I don't know, something. But no, it was a straight-up hack and slash. But some games, they just have the whole point of the combat is that specific turn-based characteristic. Imagine Shadow Hearts without the Judgment Ring. I mean, how is that gonna work? Characters fighting, beat 'em up, like a beat 'em up. Yuri fights with these claws, so he's gonna be a beat 'em up RPG. And then when you want to do a special move, the Judgment Ring will appear. I mean, it's not a bad idea, but it's just, no. You can't do it. I mean, well, you can do that, but you're not supposed to. Yeah. And now that I've said this, you're probably gonna think, well, the Dragon Quest 12 might be an action RPG. We don't want that. I don't want that either, But let's face it, the battle system in Dragon Quest is kind of generic as well. There's some cool features in there, like the pep-up system in Dragon Quest 11, but it's just an action RPG. I love action RPGs, but let's just say it's not gonna work for a lot of games that were originally turn-based. Changing them into action is just not gonna work, and it's just not gonna work. Are you excited for the next Witcher game? No, not really. Not a fan. I like the series, but no. What JRPG you think will be the next big JRPG ever? Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Is Thousand Arms good? It is good. It's not wow, but it's good. Have you ever been shamed or called a weeb for loving JRPGs? Yeah. I mean, who hasn't? Not only JRPGs, games in general, Me, I've been called every single thing you can imagine in my life. From when I was little to right now when I'm an adult. You guys know that. So, yeah, I've been called everything, I've gotten used to it. I know it's hard when you're young and people are picking on you, it sucks. And it shouldn't be that way. But at least you have an advantage. And the advantage is that gaming is a huge thing nowadays, and JRPGs are kind of big nowadays too. So you'll probably and hopefully start seeing that less and less, because this is something that's being more and more accepted nowadays. Every day it's more accepted. Somebody else, that very same person who used to say you're a weeb, or you're a loser, or you're a geek or a freak for playing JRPGs back in the day, nowadays, some of these people are probably thinking twice. Because it's something that's been kind of widely accepted. So, it sucks that you're experiencing that, but hopefully it'll get better over time. Just hang in there, Or the best advice I can give you is don't hang around those people. If somebody makes you feel less for what you are, you shouldn't hang around with those people. I've learned my lesson the hard way. In the past, I've had, relationships, friendship, friends that made me feel that way, and I just stopped talking to them. I went away, I lost a friend, but why would I hang out with someone who makes me feel less? Besides JRPGs, what type of games do you like the most? I think my second favorite genre is fighting games. I really like them, though I'm not very competitive, to be honest. I'm the type of guy who just likes to play them for a while. But maybe half an hour, maybe an hour every now and then, and that's it. I like playing them with a couple of friends that I have, sit down and have a couple of matches. But that's it. I'm not really competitive. I don't play fighting games online, and I don't really play them often with somebody else. I don't have any other friends. I only have one friend. I mean, in real life. So I want to talk about too much noise today, man. Hope you guys aren't getting, all of that, My microphone is right here, so. Anyway, CB Ross, thanks a bunch, man. Are you looking forward to Street Fighter 6? I haven't watched the trailers, but I noticed it's gonna be some kind of open world game. Now, you know what? I'll be honest. I'm not a fan of Street Fighter anymore. I grew up with Street Fighter 2. In fact, the very first fighting game that I ever played in my life was Street Fighter 2. And I loved it. I fell in love with it because the controls were very responsive. The characters were awesome. The moves were awesome. The music by Yoko Shimomura, was amazing. It was just Street Fighter 2 is a masterpiece. And then it got other, iterations, right? It got Super Street Fighter and Street Fighter Turbo, and I did play them, later. But when I was an adult, the one that I played when I was little, when I was like 11, 12 years old, it was Street Fighter 2. Everybody was starting to get into the Nintendo 64, the PlayStation, but I was stuck with the Super Nintendo back in the mid-90s. And I was playing Street Fighter 2 for the first time in my life. And then I played Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat Ultimate. Amazing games, Mortal Kombat, the first one, I never really liked it. But 2 and Ultimate were amazing games. But going back to Street Fighter, my point is that this is a series I'm not really embarrassed to say that I stopped liking it almost right away. Because after playing Street Fighter 2 Turbo and Super Street Fighter, I love those versions, But then the Alpha and Omega stuff came out, and Street Fighter 3 Alpha was badass, I loved it. Then there was this on the Dreamcast called the Third Strike, which is a badass game too. But let me start right there. Alpha was amazing. Street Fighter 3 Alpha on the PlayStation, also on Game Boy Advance and everything. That's an amazing game. I really liked it. But after that, when I played the Third Strike, I was like, well, it's great, it's amazing, but the characters are starting to look a little bit bulky, a little bit fat, a little bit, and it's starting to feel more technical. Street Fighter wasn't, a combo button masher game on the Super Nintendo. It wasn't like that, but it wasn't that technical. So the franchise started to go that way over more and more with each game, with each release. And then Street Fighter 4 came out, and that destroyed the franchise for me. It was a huge commercial success. Yes, people loved the heck out of Street Fighter 4. I just didn't. I felt like I was fighting with freaking, I don't know, extremely muscular characters. When I saw Chun-Li is my favorite character in Street Fighter 2. When I saw Cammy, when I saw the girls like that being like this, I was like, what is this, a wrestling game? What the fuck happened to Street Fighter? So it just, I don't know, it just went to a different direction, and I stopped liking it, This is why I don't like Street Fighter anymore. And I play 5, on my friend's house, I went to his house, and that was years ago when the game came out, and I had the same feelings. I was like, man, Street Fighter 4 puts this one to shame. It's just 5 is a bit worse. I'm not insulting any of you if you like Street Fighter 4 or 5, and you're excited for 6. Good, don't let my opinion ruin for you. But I'm not a fan anymore of Street Fighter. I know it's a big part of my childhood, the second one, or Alpha, the Alpha games, a big part of my young adult life. But that's where I drew the line, Street Fighter 4 for me changed the series, went into a completely different direction, and I stopped being a fan. So, no, I'm not excited for Street Fighter 6 whatsoever. Anyway, do you like Hideo Kojima, Snatcher? I've never played it. I've seen footage. I've seen people talking about it, but I've never played it myself. Dead or Alive 5? Oh, don't get me started on Dead or Alive. Well, I didn't get into Dead or Alive until I was an adult already, and I remember playing... Which one was the first one that I played? 4 on the Xbox 360 or 1 or 2 on the Dreamcast? I don't even remember. I've never been a fan of Dead or Alive. To be completely honest with you, I only play those games because of the girls. That's the only reason. And I like 5. Dead or Alive 5, was it 5 or 6? It was 5 on the PS3, right? I remember downloading, the game on the PS5, and I had a blast with it. I beat it with Kasumi. I beat the game with Kasumi and some other character, and I was like, man, I liked it. And it's not only because of the girls. Because I like the combat, the attacks, the moves, and I'm not really a fan of 3D fighters. I'm a 2D fighter guy, but this one I really liked it. But I wouldn't consider myself a fan of Dead or Alive, like a true fan. Like, I haven't done this video, maybe I will someday. What are my favorite fighting game franchises? Dead or Alive probably wouldn't be there. I think, we could put in there BlazBlue, which is my favorite. Guilty Gear, maybe. The Persona fighting games. It's not a franchise, but anyway, there's 2 games. We will probably see a 3rd game one day with the Persona 5 cast. Yeah, so I'm a huge fan of Arc System Works. Anyway, This is Radiata Stories music. You bought Blue Revolver on my recommendation? You mean Blue Reflection? You mean Blue Reflection, right? I mean Revolver? Tekken is up there for me. Never been a fan of Tekken, you know. I can't stand playing Tekken. Can't. I played 3 of them and no. Same with Soul Calibur. I think there's only one Soul Calibur game that I liked. I think it's the 4th one or the 5th one. I'm not too sure, but no. Oh, there's a game called Blue Revolver, and it's a shoot 'em up. Oh, gotcha. You like Devil Treat Children, Gen 1? If you mean that those Demi Kids games on the Game Boy Advance, they were alright. I never finished them. I played the dark version, but I never got any far into it because it just felt more like a Pokemon game than a Shin Megami Tensei. Have you played Arafel? No. I know it's the same developers of, it's got the same developers as Rise of the Third Power, amazing indie RPG, but I haven't played Arafel. Have you played Tomba 2? Nope. Primal Rage? I did play Primal Rage on the Super Nintendo. It was awesome, visually awesome because of the blood and gore, you know, and because of the animals and the creatures in there. It impressed me. That's one of the first games that really impressed me back in the day when I was little. But the controls weren't that great for me. I never got any good in Primal Rage or Killer Instinct. I beat the shit out of Killer Instinct on the Game Boy, on the original Game Boy, when I was little. I was like 10 years old, 11 I think. You know, I beat the game with Fulgore and Glacius. Glacius was my favorite character. Saberwolf, the Raptor, you know. But not the Super Nintendo one. I never had it when I was little. But it was so hard for me to pull off the moves in Killer Instinct or Primal Rage. Did you play Son of the Enders games? I did play the first one on the PlayStation 2 for a bit. Not my type of game. I don't really like those mech games. And then I played one on the Game Boy Advance, which is a strategy RPG, believe it or not, and it's kind of mediocre. Has some good ideas, but no, but it's like, why make a strategy RPG based on Zone of the Enders? I don't get it. Have you played the DS version of Final Fantasy IV? Nope. I know it's there, you know, but nope. I played a lot of the others. I know it's supposedly one of the best versions to play of the game because it's a full remake of the game. And it looks amazing. I've seen footage of it and it looks really good. But I've also heard it's the hardest version of Final Fantasy IV. You shave your beard? What are you talking about? It's right here. It's a little bit. I did make a mistake. Here. I was just shaving like an hour ago and right before this stream. And I accidentally cut this part, so I had to, you know, cut this part too. Obviously. So, yeah. And I look weird, don't I? I mean, I'm missing this. But, you know, accidents happen. You're a man, you're a guy, you probably know that. I mean, if you have any hair on you. Do you recommend 13 Sentinels? Yes. Favorite character of the Crossbell arc? Estelle? Okay, yeah, Estelle doesn't count. I mean, she's a very important character in the first game, in Zero, in Trails from Zero. She's there with Joshua. But I'm guessing those don't count. Estelle and Joshua don't count. I didn't have a favorite character, I guess. I guess I'll pick. What's the name of the main girl? I forget her name. The one with the gun. The protagonist, the female protagonist. She was my favorite. Ah, man. What's the name of... Ellie? Was it Ellie? I think it's Ellie, right? Yeah, that was my favorite character, but no. I wasn't a die-hard fan of any character in the Crossbell arc. Any horror JRPG games you can recommend? There's not much besides Parasite Eve. because there's a couple of them that are kind of bad, like Kudelka. Someone will probably say Shadow Hearts. It's not 100% a horror RPG, but that's as close as you can get to horror RPG. And then there's Bloodborne. Bloodborne is a fantastic one. Code Vein. Code Vein is a really good, horror themed, a little bit horror themed RPG. It's pretty good. But Kudelka is the closest to a horror RPG like Parasite Eve. Parasite Eve is a masterpiece. Play it. Kudelka is not a great game, man. I just can't fully recommend that game because it's full of major problems. Folklore on the PlayStation 3, I guess it's a little bit of a horror game too. Yeah. I guess the first Nier, not really, but it has some horror stuff in there. Maybe Drakengard. Kudelka didn't age well. Kudelka, it was bad when it came out. It was already bad. Now, it says right here, now will be a good time to insert ads. Creators earn more money inserting... I'm not gonna do that. Do you like King's Field? No. I hate King's Field. I don't like first-person games. I don't like slow games where you swing your sword like this, King's Field, I understand the importance of those games, but I hate them, I'd rather play Dark Souls than King's Field, I swear. Did you play Resident Evil 5? Nah. Do you guys want me to talk about that? It's something very similar as to what happened to me with Street Fighter. The first games were awesome, I was a huge fan, and then to make things short, because it's pretty much the same story, when Code Veronica came out, I loved the game, I really liked Code Veronica, but I never finished it because because something was starting to feel off. And then Zero came out, and I loved Zero, but something fell off too. And then Resident Evil 4 came out, which is everyone's favorite game except me, and I didn't like it. And it just went from there. 5 was the same, 6 was the same, and so on. So I just lost interest in Resident Evil. Do you like the Yakuza games? I only played one on the PS2 a long time ago, and I'm waiting to get Yakuza Like a Dragon for a deal. I mean, my man Retroivaniac sent money for it, but I'm like, I don't want to pay $40 for the game. Right now it's, let me check it out. Let me see if it's going down in price, because I got this code. Stupid code, I know, but it's me. And I don't really like paying $40 for a video game, I remember when a fan sent me $40 to buy I Am Setsuna digitally. And I felt pressured, and I was like, what am I gonna do, and I bought the game. $40 for a digital game, that's, in my opinion, that's highway robbery. But this guy, he sent the money, and I felt like, man, my gamer pride was destroyed, but whoever, if you're still watching this channel, thanks, man. I got to play I Am Setsuna, and oh, by the way, it's Setsuna. No, it's not pronounced Setsuna. I think it's pronounced Setsuna, so it's I Am Setsuna. So I Am Setsuna, and I played it, and I loved it, and I covered the game to death in this channel, thanks to that. But my point is, I don't like overpaying for games, especially digitally. And I need to get Yakuza Like a Dragon on the PS4. It's dirt cheap on the Xbox One, but I don't have an Xbox One. PS4 version is, oh my god, it's over $35 already. You gotta be kidding me. Shit, man. Thank you, CB Ross, once again. But I'm not gonna pay for Yakuza Like a Dragon until it's freaking $25. What are your thoughts on Crosscode? I just talked about it. Too much puzzles. There's a video I did called, I didn't do a review of Crosscode, but at the same time I did. It's a video called Why I Don't Cover... I think it's called Why I Rarely Talk About the Indie RPGs. And half of the video was pretty much a cross-code review. Is Shadow Hearts a masterpiece? By itself, it isn't. If you put Shadow Hearts 1 and 2 together, 2 is a direct sequel of the first one, so it's a duology. There's a third game called From the New World, but it's its own thing. It's another sequel, but it's barely connected to the first two games. So if we put the first two games together as if they were one game, it's a masterpiece. But separated, I don't think they are a masterpiece. 25 US dollars, yeah, but that's one of the, it's hard to explain. I'll probably end up getting that version, but it's not 25 in my country, because this is in Mexico, so it's 25 plus taxes, which increases like $6 or $7. It's ridiculous. Yeah. You do what you want, man. I know you don't like overpaying. What's your favorite anime? Ergo Proxy. How amount of endings did you get in Nier Automata? Almost all of them. Nier Automata is a pretty short game unless you do all the side quests. But if you're only trying to get all of the endings, you can get it done in like 25 hours. Not all of them, but the majority of them. I got the majority of them. Like 90%. I only missed like one or two endings because these most of the endings were like, okay, they were just fucking stupid. It was like, oh, okay. But yeah. Do you think retro gaming is out of reach now? Definitely, for most people, it is. It's just too fucking expensive. It's over. PS4 or Switch for JRPGs? I'm a PS4 guy, so PS4. What's your favorite console to play on? My favorite console of all time is the PlayStation 2. But right now, I can't stop playing PS4. I was playing PS4 games. I've been playing PS4 games almost the entire year, and I only switched to the Switch for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and immediately got back to the PS4. So you could say that my favorite system right now to play on is the PlayStation 4. For a while, it was also the PS TV. The PS TV is like the PS Vita you connect to your TV. I love that little system, man. We get PS5 Legend of Dragoon remake? I don't think so. The music is duplicating. Thanks. Alright, so is it still duplicating? Let me turn it up. This is important to me, so please let me know. Is it still duplicating the music? This is from Devil Survivor. We good now? We good with the music? Okay, awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks, there we go. Thanks. So, what's that? Thank you, Uncle V. Ever play Kudelka? Oh, we were just talking about it. Like 5 minutes ago, I was saying that Kudelka is... my friend CB Rust said it didn't age well, but I think it's a game that was kind of bad from start, even back in the 90s when it came out. I think it came out in 1999 or the year 2000. When it first came out, it was already kind of mediocre. I remember playing the game back in 2005 or 6. I downloaded the game and I played it, and I was like, what the... it's just these tank controls and these random encounters. No, Kudelka is pretty much the definition of wasted potential, in my opinion. It was supposed to be a badass game, a really good game. It has some really great ideas, but the controls and the encounter rate ruined it. Plus the battles, the combat in Kudelka is really fucking slow, It's like in slow motion. Battles take forever, the Kudelka has these little... It's a turn-based battle system, it's not a strategy RPG. Some people think it's a strategy RPG, it's not. It's just a battle system with grids, with characters moving on grids. But that's when it went wrong, If you're gonna make a game with a battle system like that, make it a little bit faster, like Trails in the Sky, because battles take forever. So imagine you fight a battle, 5 minutes later the battle is over, and then you move 2 seconds, 2 steps, and you get another battle like that. I mean, just Kudelka remake. There you go. Somebody was asking like an hour ago, Patrick. He was asking, what game would I like to see remade. Kudelka is one of them, and it's never gonna happen, I know, but Kudelka remake, fixing all of those problems. Wow, shut the fuck up and take my fucking money, man. Seriously. Which one do you like better, Lunar 1 or 2? I've only beaten Lunar 1, the Silver Star story. And I beat it on the PSP, which is my favorite version. I also played on the PlayStation 1. I own the game on the PS1. And so I guess I like it more. With Lunar 2, I never finished it, but it had some things that I thought were a little bit more interesting than the first one. I want to finish that game one day. Final Fantasy VIII had a strong soundtrack. Every Final Fantasy game from 10 and below had great soundtracks. Have you heard Devil Children, the Game Boy Color and PS1? Not Demi Kids. Yes, I know those games, I've never played them. Lost Odyssey has an amazing sound. Of course, it's Nobuo Uematsu. When are you going to dive into PC exclusive RPGs? One of these days, once I get a new computer. Thing is, even if I had a great computer to emulate PC games, I still have look at this, man. I have a huge backlog, so yeah. So I'm gonna change the music a little bit again, just to see if I can listen to it. Right now I can't listen to it. Let me know if it gets duplicated again. Let me know. Yeah, it's too loud, I know, but is it duplicating? Okay, there you go. Duplicated again. Someone said it's duplicated. Some people are saying it's... So now you're telling me the problem is... Okay, I'll try another song. It seems to be duplicating for some people only. Doubled again. Another song. This is Tales of Legendia. It seems to be duplicating for some people, it glitches for some. You know what? Just... There we go, it should sound good right now. Yeah, it's like an echo, small echo in the duplication, like for a fraction of a second. It's fine now, yeah, Alright, well, let's continue. I won't be able to listen to anything. I need to fix that, I'll fix it one day. Anyway, so, I think the problem is that the software is trying to stream the music twice for you and for me, and it shouldn't be that way. Yeah, I don't know why. Anyway, have you heard about Tales of Ascension? Nope. Thank you, Patrick, once again. What's your favorite vampire or monster character? My favorite vampire is probably Lestat. Lestat the vampire. It's a cliched answer, I know. Nothing special, but he's my favorite. Or, does the Crow matter? Does the Crow count? The guy from the Crow, Brandon Lee. Eric Draven. That's me. In fact, my name is because of that guy. My real name is not Eric. It's Caesar. I'm Caesar. Caesar. But I got the name Eric because of Eric Draven from The Crow. But it's not exactly a monster character, is it? I mean, he's just an immortal guy who came back from the dead. Kind of like a zombie. He's a zombie. Holy shit. The Crow is a zombie. But yeah, my favorite vampire is Lestat the Vampire. An influence, especially if you read the books. If you only watch the movie Interview with the Vampire, I mean, Tom Cruise is an excellent... he nailed the role. But you gotta read the books, to understand why he's such a phenomenal character. You do look like... I look like a Caesar. The Crow is a masterpiece, it is. Did you ever do a top 10 of all your YouTube videos? I did one a long time ago. I kind of want to do... I want to do a top 10, but I'll probably stream it so we can reminisce together, you guys and me, with these videos, But yeah, I've never done one. I did something similar out of my, top 10 most popular videos in my channel. This was like 3 years ago, something like that. It's kind of an old video. I think it's still there. Favorite cyborg character? Aegis, I guess. Aegis from Persona 3. She's my favorite robot of all time. Cosmos is a close second. Kiss! Thanks a bunch, man. Have you played Fragrant Story? Not yet. Which Fire Emblem is, in your opinion, not that great? Ooh, Fates. Fates, definitely. I mean, it's an okay Fire Emblem game. It's still good and enjoyable, but it's the worst Fire Emblem game. Then there's the the one we never got, the one from Roy. The Binding... what was the name? Yeah, the Binding Blade, yeah. It's only in Japan, the first Game Boy Advance Fire Emblem. We never got it, but it's fan translated, and it's still good. It's better than Fates, but it's not great. And that's it. All the others are great, Echoes, Shadow Dragon, Awakening, Three Houses. Obviously, Path of Radiance, my favorite. Radiant Dawn, its sequel on the Wii. The Game Boy Advance games, the other two, Sacred Stones and Blazing Sword. And even Genealogy of the Holy War never came out of Japan. That's a great game. Thracia is another one that it's not great. They fucked it up. They fucked up that game so bad. It's almost bad and unplayable. But it had great ideas. Top 10 villains? I've never done that. That's a huge request for my channel, but I've never been able to do that because I can't decide. There's some great antagonists out there, some of them are like really overrated, like Sephiroth. Oh my god. Don't expect to see Sephiroth in there. I mean, enough about that guy. But there's a lot of great villains out there, I just can't decide. Every time I start planning that video, I'm like, holy, I can't decide. Is Nayuta no Kiseki worth playing? It's gonna be remastered next year with an English release, official. I only played the PSP fan-translated version, and it wasn't that great, to be honest. It's good, it is good, but it wasn't that great for me. I mean, most other Falcom RPGs, are better. Most. Do you support the Mother 3 emulation going on? What are you talking about? Wasn't that game fan-translated a long-ass time ago? If so, then I don't know. I'm not a fan of Earthbound or the universe. I'm not hyped for Valkyrie Elysium. I'm very disappointed. I made a video about that on my second channel. Link to my second channel in the description of this video. Yeah, I know Sephiroth is like very an iconic character, but enough is enough. Do you like Berserk? Berserk is one of my favorite anime series of all time, and everybody hated the new one, and I loved it. I don't give a shit, I loved it. The original is better. I mean, the first seasons. But I love the third season, man. I loved it. Although, I would like to say that the third season, you know, it was divided in like 2 arcs. The first one was amazing, and the second one wasn't that amazing. So, Berserk Season 3 Part 2, it probably is the worst. Are you still writing, or are you full-time YouTube now? Oh, I've been full-time YouTube since 2019, for over 3 years. But I still write. You know, right now I'm not writing anything. What I'm doing right now is translating one of my books in Spanish to English. It's called The Revenant Army, and it's going to be released this very same year. In fact, the book just turned yesterday 8 years old. I'm gonna wait for 10 years to celebrate, because who the hell celebrates 8 years? I mean, right? I do have a celebration coming up soon about a short film that I made. It's been 10 years since that first short film, and I kind of want to celebrate it, because most of you guys don't know that I used to make short films way back in the day. This first short film that I did is in Spanish but has English subtitles. It's called The Walls of Samuel. And, oh man, why the videos don't show up the date anymore? I'm in the video right now and I can't see the date it was published. Well, okay, whatever. It was made 10 years ago in July of 2012. So I'll probably make some kind of celebration, you know, post it on the community section or something. Anyway. Isn't 2022 your 5-year anniversary? It is kind of in the way that I came back to YouTube, but not really. I mean, I came back to YouTube on September 29, I think, of 2017. So I'm about to be 5 years. It's about to be 5 years since I returned to YouTube. You know, but I've been here I've been making content since 2008. It was just very... Hey, Oscar! It was just very... I mean, I was just uploading a few songs and that's it. And then for like 6 months, I didn't do anything. You know, I like to think as my real true start as a YouTuber, as a YouTube channel, as a real YouTube channel, because back then I was just using it the same way a lot of people were using the channel, the website, you know, just uploading these 2-3 videos or these 2 songs or this and that's it. That's not a real YouTube channel, right? So this channel became a real legit YouTube channel back when I first uploaded the slideshow videos, you know, the best PSP JRPGs, no commentary videos, the ones that have massive views, and those were exactly 8 years ago in 2014, back when I wrote my first books, Terra Gaiden and the Revenant Army. So I like to think of June 2014 as, you know, the year where I really became, when this really became a YouTube channel. So Oscar asked me, what was my favorite Sega Saturn game, I think? Right? Thank goodness you weren't here before, man, because you missed my Street Fighter rant. It probably would have hurt your feelings. Well, you know I don't have a Sega Saturn, and I have a hard time emulating Saturn games, so I've never finished a single Sega Saturn game my whole life. But I think my favorite will probably be Dragon Force. Your favorite genre, strategy RPG. Yeah. Oh, I know Taylor from the Gaming Shelf. We've known each other for a few years. Alpha Omega Scene came back. He came back. The guy came back like what was like 2 weeks ago or a month ago. He started making videos all of a sudden again. He's back. Your Hidden Gems videos got me into watching you. Thanks, man. I really want to make a Switch Hidden Gems video part 3, but I don't have enough games. I mean, there's enough, but most of them are like really dumb games, you know. I'm looking for, you know how I always balance things, you know. It's if the list is gonna be full of fan service weeb, dumbass games, you know, it's just not gonna work that much, you know. I need a couple of more serious games. I already have a few, you know, but I need that one game. I need one more to make Switch Part 3. Hidden Gems Part 3. Yum Razon, man. Thanks. Nice to see you there, man. Welcome back. Have you heard of Septerra Core? Nope. My favorite console of all time, the PlayStation 2. Though, I gotta admit, the PS4, man. I'm looking at it right now. And before I know someone's gonna start asking, when am I gonna get a PS5? Oh, man. How's the music, by the way? Is it too loud? Yeah, I can't listen to it anymore because it starts duplicating, which sucks. So, yeah, I guess this right now is as good as any time to talk to you about the PlayStation 5. Why am I not interested in a PS5? First and foremost, and we discussed this in Discusión Gamer in Spanish with my friend Oscar right here. We made a video a couple of weeks ago, and I think I made my point in there, but I'll make my point in English right now for this channel. I think the one thing that's killing the PS5 for me is just the price. Well, there's a second thing why, you know, a second reason why, but the main reason is just the price. That's it. I mean, it's just I want a PS5, yes I do, because I want to be able to play all my, I mean, Shantae on PS5 is probably gonna look badass. Yeah, I mean, it looks great on the PS4 already. But I want to play some RPGs, some games on some PS4 games on the PS5 just to see how improved they look, you know. And I think they're gonna look better, of course. But the thing about the PS5 is just, you know, the price is just way out of reach and just not for me, for a lot of people, you know. And we were talking in that video, Oscar and me, that we were talking about the fact that there aren't many, in terms of games, there's just not a lot of games, at least not for me, you know, to buy the game, to buy the system. So even if the system was cheap, you know, I still wouldn't buy it because what's the point? I don't think, I mean, I'm not a graphics nerd like some of you. No offense, you know, I would love to be a graphics nerd too, and I'm learning every day to, you know, to know more about graphics, you know, so I can criticize graphics in a more objective way, you know, the same way I wanted to do in my Xenoblade Chronicles 2 review, and I ended up messing up because I got two terms mixed up. Resolution and frame rate are two different things, and I mixed them in the review. So I would like to learn more about graphics. But the truth is that I don't have the best eye for graphics, and between PS4 graphics and PS5 graphics, I just don't see a lot of difference, you know, especially on AAA games. Sure, I've played PS5 precisely at my friend's house, you know, and the games look amazing, but they already look amazing on the PS4. But that's not the point, you know. The point is that, you know, there's just not a lot of games in there to make me say, oh, I want a PS5 because I want to play this game that you can only play on the PS5 and this and this and this and this. I just need more reasons to buy the console itself. And so, number one, the price. The price is just ridiculous. And number two, you know, you can't find it. You go to Walmart, to retro stores, and most of them don't have a PS5 for sale. You gotta buy online for outrageous prices or pay a freaking scalper. And number three, it just lacks games that are exclusive to it that I really want to play. You know, because everything else is still being released on PS4 or even Switch or PC, right? I think PS5 needs more exclusives, or at least more initial exclusives from that generation. Like, I need a bunch of RPGs or JRPGs in there that you can't play on PS4. Sure, you can play them on PC or on Xbox Series X, but not on PS4. And that's what's gonna stop forcing me to desire a PlayStation 5. But right now, the price, the lack of exclusives, or the lack of games that interest me personally, and you know, that's it, you know, it's just, I don't care. And you know what's even worse, you know, I just, like most of you, I have this huge backlog of games. There's a lot of games on PS4 that I haven't finished, that I really want to play. Sure, I can play it on the PS5, but what about those PS2 or PS3 games? They're not on the PS Plus bullshit service, is there? And that's horse shit, man. The new PS Plus service from Sony, it's fucking garbage. So, you see there, I have like several reasons not to buy a PS5. In fact, I'm kind of against it. I'll probably wait for the regular vanilla PS5 console to be $300. Maybe $4. Maybe $4. I've never paid $4 for a console. In fact, I've never even paid $300 for a console, but I'm willing to do that for the PS5, as long as all the defects that I mentioned go away. So, yeah, I don't care about the PS5. Anyway, do you like Monster Hunter? No, not really. I like Monster Hunter Stories 1 and 2, but the mainline Monster Hunter games, I'm not a fan. Final Fantasy Tactics, Tactics Ogre, or Triangle Strategy? Triangle Strategy for me. That's a good question. I want to answer this question because I have the same problem. Check it out, because it's true. It says, need your help here, guys. How do I play old JRPGs without having to check a guide every 2 minutes? Well, my problem is more about modern JRPGs. I've been having that issue for the past 5 games that I played. I was checking up a walkthrough over and over again. It didn't used to be this way back in the old times, you know, but nowadays, you know, I feel like, how do developers expect us to know where you're supposed to go sometimes, or how to get this? You know, good example is Atelier Ryza that I'm playing right now. No spoilers, but I just got past a point where I needed to make an item, and the game tells you need to make this item, but in order to make this item, you need this other material. You need this material. And this is a material you've never seen before in the game. Where the fuck is that material? It's me. And there's like 12 different dungeons and areas I can go to right now. Probably more, 15. And the street vendors do not sell this specific material. And it gets worse. I have no idea where that material is. So what do? I check off a fucking walkthrough online. Where is this material? And then some guy replies, oh, it's in this forest area at the bottom. So you go there, you get the freaking material, you come back, you put that material so you can craft the item, and it turns out, no, you just craft this other item. To unlock the real item you want, you need to unlock a recipe first. But to unlock that recipe, you need another fucking material that's nowhere to be found. You've never heard about it before. You have no way of knowing that. But Atelier Ryza has an excuse. Any other video game in existence has an excuse nowadays. So that's my question. My answer to you was the person who asked this question. My answer is, you can't just play old JRPGs without having to check up on walkthrough, you know. It's just, sometimes it's impossible. But nowadays, thankfully, you have walkthroughs. Imagine back in the day on Super Nintendo PS1 RPGs, you were like, what the hell am I supposed to do now? And there was no internet back then. There were no guides or walkthroughs, you know. You had to figure it out for yourself and spend hours just roaming around, wandering, going from one place to another, or asking of a friend or two maybe, or it was back then it was just like that. And nowadays, with this Ryza example that I put, that I gave, I just think, okay, it's not such a big pain in the ass because, you can find that about everything on the internet. But at the same time, it's still a pain in the ass to have to do that. How am I supposed to know that this fucking material is in the middle of fucking nowhere? How was I supposed to know that? There's just no way to know that. Or to know that the fact that this material, you can craft it. You have no way of knowing that. All this time I was looking everywhere for that material, and it turns out it doesn't exist in the overworld. You had to craft it by synthesizing this other stuff and creating a new recipe out of that other stuff, and then creating a new recipe out of the new recipe. It's bullshit, but that's Atelier for you. All Atelier games have been this way since the beginning. Since the first release, since Atelier Marie on the Sega Saturn. So nowadays, exactly, it's just super easy to get help. You just look it up online, that's it. But still, you shouldn't have to. That's the problem, Sometimes it's all about the strategy when it comes to battle, Leaving Atelier Ryza aside and putting another example, sometimes it's all about how do I beat this monster or this enemy, or, you need to figure it out for yourself. It's better that way, Change your strategy, use elements that are the enemy's weak against, or you need this other weapon or whatever, right? But it's just when things... I love Atelier. You guys know I'm a fan of this series. I wouldn't be playing Atelier Ryza right now if I wasn't a fan. But it's just bullshit, man. How are you supposed to know that? It's like that fucking thing on Simon's Quest. In Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. How the fuck are you supposed to know that you had to go to the corner, to the dead end, and lean on your knees for 15 seconds and wait for a freaking tornado to... I mean, come on. Come on, how was I supposed to know that I needed to do this material to craft this thing so I can get this new recipe, to get this other new recipe that I need to... it's impossible to know that. Unless you're synthesizing every single fucking item in the game, and we're talking about hundreds of items in the Atelier series. But thank God for the internet, right? Oh, me too, man. I quit a bunch of games in the past because there was no internet. There was just no way to know. I remember playing Zelda 2 when I was little, and my brother and we used to play that game, and we got stuck in a part. Don't ask me, I don't remember where, but we didn't know what to do. We asked our friends, we asked everybody we knew. Nobody knew, because nobody could beat that game. It was so fucking hard. I never met anybody when I was little that beat Zelda 2. No one. But the point is that, it's just, there was no way to know. It was frustrating, so I quit in the game and never touched it again. Thank you, Matthew. Those were definitely the days. A lot of trial and error because of no gods. Thanks, man. That was a huge donation, man. Fuck, wow. Yeah, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. So yeah, those were the days. So to the guy who was asking about that, come on, man, you have the internet nowadays. It was way worse back then. Nobody knew. If your friend in school didn't know, you're fucked. Who are you gonna ask? Oh, maybe you could call Nintendo Power. You could do that, right? Or buy the magazine. We had these magazines too in Mexico, but they weren't that helpful, when getting stuck in some areas, And nowadays, you just get stuck and grab your phone, and what do I do? This is, oh, thanks. But in Atelier fucking Ryza... Okay, yeah, let's change the subject. So, as a Yoshitaka Murayama fan, have you played 10,000 Bullets? No, I know it was one of his first games, but no. Will you ever go back to Monarch? Hell no. How can you... Man, you guys are just making me rant here. Monarch triggers me so bad because I really, really like that game. During the first several hours of the game, I was like, man, this is amazing. Thank you, Yum Yum Razon. 3DS tier list next year. I already made the top 50 best 3DS JRPGs this year, so I'm 3DS tier list next year, not this one. And so what was I saying? That Monarch, I really like the game. Everybody was bitching about the enemies looking very generic, that the gameplay this and that the graphics weren't stellar, that blah blah blah. I didn't give a shit. I was loving Monarch. And I was like 12 hours into it when I finally started seeing how poorly designed was the leveling up system. And then 17 hours later, I got stuck in a fight. No, not a boss fight, a regular fight. I couldn't defeat the enemies. And I used casual mode. Same result. That's when you know when they fucked up a game. When not even on easy you can beat the game. Or you can get unstuck. You can beat that battle. Not even on easy. When that happens, that's when you know this game is fucked up. Monarch, it triggers me so much because I really liked it. I mean, you guys know me, whenever I rage quit on games that I didn't finish, it's because I probably rage quit when I was like 5 or 6 hours into them, and that's it. But 17 hours and a half, and I think it's more. I'm pretty sure it's more, I'm pretty sure it's like 20 hours. I put 20 hours in a game only to be ruined by this. It's, man, I really wanted to love Monarch because it has some great, unique ideas that I found they were amazing, you know. But this leveling up bullshit, you know, is just, holy shit, man. Anyway, well, the game can still get patched. Yes, it can. They can add a very easy mode, and even then, it's not gonna work. You can't make Monarch easier because they fucked up the leveling system. There's just no way. They fucked up the game. But yeah, I guess they can patch it up. I don't know how, but maybe they can. But the problem is that you only level up when you... I don't want to get too deep into Monarch because I want to talk about the game again. I have an upcoming video, not sure when, I'm trying to find the right time to make that video, and it's about games like Monarch, you know, something completely ruined them. Anyway, that's my rant. My rant number 3, probably on Monarch. Resonance of Fate, that's another game that it's the same. Had great ideas, great character story, music. Music, man, shit. You know, you probably haven't noticed, but there's been some Resonance of Fate music in today's Q&A stream. I can't listen to it anymore because it's duplicating the audio, but... Enchanted Arms, yes I did. I mean, you guys can get into Monarch if you're willing to put up with that bullshit. I wasn't. But you're gonna have to grind forever, you know, and... I don't know. I don't even know how. How much time do you spend gaming daily? Probably a couple of hours. That's just it, you know, I'm busy with the channel. It keeps me very busy every day, you know, trying to come up with new strategies and with new things. And when is the best time to make this video or this one that I really want to do, but I have to wait, or, you know, stuff like that, you know. So it keeps me busy, and right now I have something personal going on in my life. I'm looking to move out. You know, I don't want to live in this house anymore. And yeah. So I get to play only for a couple of hours per day, maybe a little bit more. Shining Force or Final Fantasy Tactics. Shining Force for me. You know, Final Fantasy Tactics is a game that I just couldn't get into after all. You know, I thought I was gonna be able to get into last time I played it 2 years ago, but I just couldn't. So Shining Force for me. What do you think, Sega? What do you think? Will Sega release Valkyria Chronicles 5 for the 15th anniversary? Maybe, you know, it's not out of the question. I hope they do. I'm a huge fan of Valkyria Chronicles, so hopefully, yeah. Conception 1 and 2 sound like better games. Did you play Breath of Fire 5 on PS2? Yeah, it was terrible. another wasted potential RPG. I was really digging the story and how the setting of that game was amazing, man. How these characters live underground and they aim for going up one day to the surface, you know, because there's this really fucked up dystopia in Breath of Fire 5 that I really liked. And the characters, I really liked them. You know, I thought Nina was, she's freaking lowly this time, but she was very interesting nonetheless. And then this other character, you know, I was really digging Breath of Fire 5, but it's just the mechanics of the game they killed it. Gameplay wise, Breath of Fire 5 sucks, in my opinion. Tales of Exilia 2, yeah, man, amazing game. Will you be ranking the Xeno games anytime? I really want to, but I'm missing Xenoblade Chronicles X. And now we got Xenoblade Chronicles 3 around the corner. So I'm missing 2 games in order for me to be able to rank that series. I've been planning that video for a long time. Now that I finished finally Xenoblade Chronicles 2, so I got only 2 more games to go. Are you gonna buy Shredder's Revenge? I've been looking at it digitally, and I think it's like $15. You know, I'm gonna wait, you know, for the price to drop. You know me, man. I don't pay more than 10 for a digital game. So if it's 10, I'll get it. But I really, just like you, I really want it physical. I want a physical version of it because the game was so great that I really want to own the game, you know, and collect it. But it's probably gonna be expensive for a long time, and it's gonna have a limited print. It's probably gonna be published by Limited Run Games or whatever, and the game is gonna be expensive forever. What genre is your book? You mean the book from my thumbnail video? From this video? That's The Reaper's Thorn. It's a historical, gothic, psychological horror game book. It's a mix of same, you know, some things, you know, but it's a horror story, but it's more dramatic than horrific, because there's a lot of, you know, intellectual and philosophical stuff in there, and I mean a lot. But yeah, play Suikoden 2 then. Why do you need help? Don't resist, play it again. You gonna get Crisis Core remake? Probably not. Did you like Dead Space? I did like Dead Space, you know, it wasn't my cup of tea, my type of game. But I thought the setting was impressive and the graphics were great for its time. You know, the aliens look amazing. You know, I thought it was a pretty nice looking game, Dead Space, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. Did you like Onimusha Tactics on the Game Boy Advance? It's been a while since I last covered that game in this channel. I really liked it, and I think it's a great strategy RPG, and very overlooked. It's just, I mean, you get this franchise, right? These Onimusha hack and slash games with Resident Evil type of controls on the PlayStation 2. And all of a sudden, they thought it was a good idea to make a grid-based strategy JRPG on the Game Boy Advance. I mean, I'm glad they did it because the game is great, but why would you do that? You know, it's like the Zone of the Enders. Zone of the Enders. There's 2 games on the PS2, remastered on PS3 and 360, you know, those mech games. They also made a strategy RPG on the Game Boy Advance based on it. I mean, okay. Cool, I guess. I can't wait to see a Pokemon hack and slash Warriors game. Exclusive to Steam. What puzzle-heavy RPG would you recommend? Crosscode. If you like really, really heavy puzzles, Crosscode. Who is your favorite Final Fantasy villain? Kefka is one of the greatest. He's a fucking asshole, man. Fucking Kefka. You know, Who was in Final Fantasy VII? Sephiroth? Sephiroth was interesting, but he's so fucking overrated. Ultimecia, Edea, I don't know how you pronounce it. Edea. She was a great antagonist, but it turns out she wasn't the main antagonist. That's Ultimecia, and she's not that interesting, but she's cool. I prefer Ultimecia than Sephiroth. And then we got Final Fantasy IX, which is this Kuja guy. I think the character is so over the top. I mean, the spoiler is interesting. No spoilers. We don't want to reveal the spoilers, but yeah. And then Final Fantasy X was Sin, this huge monster, and it's all the true identity of Sin is a spoiler. That's an interesting antagonist, but not really. And then Final Fantasy XII was this guy, what was the name of the guy from Final Fantasy XII? I think that's my favorite now that I think about it. It's such an interesting character, and it starts with a V. Varth? No. What's the name of the guy from Final Fantasy XII, the main antagonist? That's a great antagonist. I think that might be my favorite in the series. No, not Garland. Garland is from Vayne. Thanks, man. Vayne Solidor. Yeah. That's a great antagonist, No, Van, that's an ass. That's the good guy. His brother, Gabrand. Gabrand is one of my favorite Final Fantasy characters of all time. The Judge Gabrand, man. That's Bash's brother. Yeah. Anyway, will you do a top 10 AAA JRPGs? I kind of just did. I don't know if all games in that video were AAA, but I kind of just did call the top 10 JRPGs released on all modern systems. That video didn't do that well. I don't know why. I thought it was going to go viral or something, but no. Probably overshadowed by that other video that I did called top 10 JRPGs that aged really well. That video did really well. What is your top 10 best cover art in RPGs? There's a lot of them that are really good, but I've never even thought about that before. I've never even considered that idea for a video. Might be a good idea, top 10 best covers, best JRPG covers. There's a lot of them that are really good. I don't know which one is my favorite. I really like the one in Chrono Cross, generic as it looks, I really like it. It's pretty much the reason why I bought the game, because it looked really interesting. How do you argue with people saying that JRPG are repetitive and childish? Have them play Nier Automata. The end. Childish, a girl dressed like that, and then all the blood and gore, and then all the fucked up, philosophical, religious stuff in there. Have them play Xenogears. A game like that, Bloodborne, Code Vein, have these people play them? And childish? I don't think so. And if that's still childish for them, those are fucked up people we're talking about. How angry will you get if Konami does a Suikoden Warriors? Instead of making Suikoden 6, they come back as an action RPG? I will be very pissed off. Very. Like Valkyrie. I'm pissed off with Valkyrie Elysium for the same reasons. It's not Valkyrie Elysium is not a Warriors game, but it's an action RPG. I mean, leaker leaked Tales of Ascension. Okay, in Code Vein 2. Oh, I'm excited. I want Code Vein 2, so yeah. Last questions, guys. I gotta go now. Better than a pachinko game, Suikoden? Well, yeah, I mean, I'd rather see a Suikoden Warriors than a pachinko game. Xenogears or Xenoblade? Xenogears for me. Which JRPG would you like to see turn into a TV series? Wow, I'm not sure, because if a TV series is animated, then yes, maybe. A live show will probably destroy. It will probably be bad, woke as fuck, extremely correct, politically correct. so it will be fucking horseshit probably. But an animated TV series, like an anime based on it, I guess I would like to see one based on the Xeno series. I mean, there's Xenosaga the anime and it's great, but what about one based on Xenoblade or Xenogears? I was gonna say Chrono Cross, but not really. Suikoden, I don't think so, because I mean the soul of the Suikoden games is to build your castle and recruit characters. If it can be done like that, if it can focus on that, the anime series, it will be great. Wasn't there a Final Fantasy VII anime already? I don't know. It's a movie, right, called The Advent Children. It's like a sequel. It's alright, it's good. Not the best, but it's good. It's a good movie. CGI movie, not animated. I mean, it's animated, but not 2D. It's 3D. And there's a Nova. Who is your favorite star of Destiny on the main Suikoden series? Hard to tell. Some of my favorite characters include George Prime is one of my favorites. What was the name of the tactician in Suikoden 5? She's my favorite tactician. That's how hard, man. You're making me choose between 700 characters. Lucretia. I always forget her name. Yeah, Lucretia. Yeah. I loved Lucretia in Suikoden 5. She's my favorite tactician. And my favorite antagonist, I guess I will choose Necalord. Yes, over Luca Blight. I thought Necalord was a better antagonist. He's kind of cheesy, but it's so legendary, I mean, yeah. I do these Q&A streams every 2 Sundays at 12 p.m. Central Time. I always do these streams every 2 Sundays, so the next one will be in 15 days, the next Q&A live stream. Look forward to that. Which RPG are you playing currently? Atelier Ryza, the first one. And which JRPG has the best music? For me, personally, Chrono Cross, of course. Yeah. The music is kind of loud right now. From Moscow. Is Valkyrie Profile as 2 as cryptic as the first one? In terms of getting the ending, no, it isn't. But in terms of gameplay, because the battle system is very convoluted, then yeah. But no, the first one is way more cryptic. In terms of getting the best ending, yeah, it's way... There's no best ending in Valkyrie Profile 2. There's just one ending no matter what you do. It has no endings. It has no multiple endings. There's just one, and you get it no matter what. And yeah, it's nowhere near as cryptic as the first one. That's probably one thing that didn't age well about the game. But nowadays with the internet... Would you like to see a remake or remaster of Legend of Legaia? A remaster will be fine. I don't think it needs a remake. A remaster will be fine. No problem. Thanks for being a subscriber. Do you have a mailing address we can send stuff to? Yep, I do. You can you will need to send me a message somewhere. Facebook, Twitter, email. Final question, are you still active on Instagram? No. I used your review on Valkyrie Profile? I don't have a review. You mean the one where I explained the battle system? But hey man, if you're making money out of that, come on, you're stealing my work. But I'm not active on Instagram. Never been. Have you played the original Star Ocean? Yes. First Departure. I never played the Super Famicom version. I played the First Departure remake on the PSP. That's it. I know, man, I'm just messing with you. Anyway, guys, that's it. This was the today's Q&A. Too many damn questions. Thanks for watching. Link to my books in the description below. Link to my second channel where I upload some of the discussion topics in these Q&As. Link in the description. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't. Maybe you think you're subscribed, but maybe you won't, maybe you aren't. Click that big ass red button there. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. That's it for today. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you next time.